Welcome back to the news. U.S. President Barack Obama believes the killing of a Yemeni-based radical Muslim preacher is a clear manifestation that there is no safe haven for terrorists anywhere in the world. The United States on Friday announced that an unmanned drone has killed Anwar al-Awlaki in Yemen. This report takes a closer look at the growing influence of a preacher who used the internet to capture hearts and minds.
The Islam of Umar was an opening. His hijrah was victory.
Anwar al-Awlaki.
Rain was mercy.
The radical Yemen-based preacher seen here online. His followers in Britain say he's like Osama bin Laden.
He reminds me of, for example, Sheikh Osama bin Laden and also Ayman al-Zawahiri in terms of his soft-spoken, at the same time the knowledge that they have, the foundations that they have.
And he said, hand me over your scrolls.
This is the same Anwar al-Awlaki who exchanged emails with Major Nidal Hassan, accused of killing 13 people at Fort Hood. After the killings, al-Awlaki praised Hassan on his website, calling him a hero. Why al-Awlaki is so influential is a combination of birth and upbringing. He was born in the United States. His father was a minister in the Yemeni government. He is smart and privileged. He preached in Imam Jahari Malik's mosque in Virginia. He doesn't agree with al-Awlaki's extreme views and denounces the killings at Fort Hood. But it was here at Malik's mosque al-Awlaki met Major Hassan, as well as two of the 9/11 bombers. The 9/11 Commission reports that even before this, he was on the FBI's radar. According to the Commission, by the time we sought to interview him in 2003, he had left the United States. Nick Robertson, CNN, London.
Well, what turned a quiet and reticent man to a violent preacher who urged his audience to kill Americans? Anwar al-Awlaki's messages in English language appealed to many young scholars in the West. This report, compiled weeks before his killing, takes a closer look at Anwar al-Awlaki and his sharp views on Islam in the 21st century.
4 years ago in London, Bilal Berlach first heard and first began to see how this English-speaking cleric was attracting young Muslim students like himself.
He said, hand me over.
They all thought al-Awlaki was brilliant.
You know, there aren't that many Muslim-born American or British scholars, and he is one of them. So the appeal is obviously fantastic.
Anwar al-Awlaki was young, spoke American English eloquently. To many young Muslim men seeking direction, he was a rock star. But then, almost overnight, Berlach says his message took on a more sinister tone.
The evolution is what worries me. Here is someone who was telling us we should be praying and behaving in a particular way and holding up the moral high ground as Muslims should. And suddenly he is saying, you know, there should be a call to violence.
Anwar al-Awlaki now preaches hatred. And according to U.S. intelligence sources, he recently became not just a preacher of violence, but a planner.
He's not just recruiting and motivating jihadists, but it's believed that senior al-Qaeda leaders in the Arabian Peninsula, specifically Yemen, are listening to him.
In other words, this English-speaking mouthpiece for al-Qaeda's global jihad is now deeply involved in actual attempts to kill Westerners, as was believed was done by al-Awlaki follower and alleged Fort Hood shooter, Major Nidal Hassan. The U.S. government has decided Anwar al-Awlaki is an enemy and has issued a capture or kill order for him. Pat D'Amoro is former assistant director of the FBI's Counterterrorism Division.
Should we kill him? Is that the right thing to do?
The primary goal is to protect our citizens globally. And when you have information of individuals that are planning to conduct terrorist attacks and are espousing rhetoric to invigorate others or get others to conduct those attacks, then that individual is a threat to our national security.
But there is a risk. Al-Awlaki was virtually an unknown just a few years ago. Now he's front-page news, being compared to Osama bin Laden himself. Killing him, says Tom Fuentes, could turn him into a legend.
I think that many authorities in Yemen believe that, that we elevate him further if we actually do kill him. We'll make him a martyr, and his videos and recordings and other messages, writings will live on and on.
For Bilal Bolach, killing him, he says, will also eliminate any possibilities of learning why al-Awlaki turned from recruiting young men to Islam to now recruiting young men to kill.
I think targeting al-Awlaki and killing him is going to add fuel to the fire. I think it's going to completely marginalize those who agree that his violent views now are wrong, but just want to know why this happened.
Well, once again, this report was compiled before al-Awlaki was killed. Time now to take our second break. We'll be right back. Well, let's now take a quick look at the headlines before we go. The Gambia's march towards the attainment of gender parity in education has received favorable reviews on the sidelines of the 66th United Nations General Assembly. Vice President Jai Saidi has warned against brandishing the threat of military action or restoring to it, and instead called for negotiations aimed at finding peaceful settlements. American drones have killed the man said to be the bin Laden of Al-Qaeda, the leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. And reacting to that incident, U.S. President Barack Obama said the killing of Anwar al-Awlaki, or the bin Laden of the Internet, shows there is no sanctuary for terrorists. You can also follow that story and other Grts programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor Grts Radio live. Well, that's all in the news. Thank you very much for your time and have a very good weekend.
The Gambia, the smiling coast, Africa's smallest country, but a land of big opportunities. The Gambia, a country on the move, rapidly becoming an important hub for global transactions. It's a land of contrasts, traditional handicraft and high-speed modems, rustic dugouts and laden freighters, rich local cultures and cosmopolitan experiences. It's a land of warm, friendly people moving forward in the 21st century.
We want to build a country that will be a model and a source of inspiration for the rest of mankind. Not only do we want to develop it fast, but we want to make it one of the best countries on the face of the earth.
Everything about the Gambia just feels so positive at the moment. Everything is moving. Everyone you speak to, everything, it's growing. It's evolving at such a rate.
In the 8 years since I was last in Gambia, things have, there's been so much construction, new